Have you ever noticed how worry disguises itself as responsibility? It slinks in wearing a sensible suit, murmuring that vigilance is the price of safety, that rehearsing every nightmare keeps the wolves at the edge of the wood. I discovered the fraud behind that promise on a rain-streaked evening when a friend sat opposite me, tea trembling in his cup, cataloging disasters that had not and might never arrive. If I stop thinking about it, something will slip through, he said, voice roughened by sleepless nights. The words struck like flint. I heard my own private monologue echoed back, the one that paces the floors of 3 a.m. corridors, insisting that endless calculation is a virtue. Worry, I realized, is a counterfeit architect. It drafts blueprints for problems that may never break ground, then sends the body the bill in tight shoulders and shallow breath. Marcus Aurelius grasped this centuries ago, noting that the mind can discard distress the instant it sees distress as nothing but an opinion. Nietzsche sharpened the point. Under peaceful conditions, the warlike man turns his weapons inward. Their agreement resounds across time. Our fiercest battles are usually staged in empty rooms. The blow lands hardest just before dawn. There you lie, ceiling washed in sodium glow, heart-beating rehearsal drums for an enemy not yet on the field. Replay the scene from outside, and it borders on comedy. One solitary soul, safe in a soft bed, summoning armies of phantom crises. Yet inside the loop, it feels deadly serious, because worry's first magic trick is to replace presence with projection. The moment you project, you abandon the only terrain you can truly influence. This breath, this mattress, this moment, and wander unarmed into the fog. When the alarm chirps and gray light slips between the curtains, the second magic trick appears: amnesia. All the catastrophic plots evaporate, replaced by emails, breakfast crumbs, and the hiss of the kettle. Half yesterday's fears dissolve with daylight, proof they were never prophecies, merely phantoms. The lesson hides in plain sight. If a thought cannot survive sunrise, it never deserved a midnight throne. So the practice begins at waking. Before screens, before anyone else's agenda storms the gate, sit at the edge of the bed and name 3 things exactly as they are. Cool air on skin, the hush of the hallway, a steady pulse. No judging, no predicting. This unadorned noticing tears the first hole in worry's costume. It cannot coexist with direct perception. From there, walk to the kitchen and breathe with the aroma of coffee rising. Feel warmth enter your palms. Let that single sensory fact anchor the mind the way a keel steadies a boat. It sounds absurdly small, yet every unworried life is built on such anchors, multiplied hour by hour. Mid-morning, when inbox alerts flick like strobe lights and the mind itches to sprint ahead, step outside. 5 minutes of unhurried walking, no audio, no agenda, teaches the nervous system what presence feels like mid-stride. Nietzsche claimed great ideas are born in motion. Modern science agrees, noting that rhythmic movement tames the amygdala. But don't walk to have insights. Walk to remember you inhabit a body, not just a forecasting machine. Asphalt underfoot, wind against cheeks, the smell of wet bark after night rain. These tangible details are antidotes to hypothetical terrors. Around noon, when the day's architecture lists under meetings, invoke the courage hour. Choose the single task most likely to breed anxiety if deferred. Set a visible timer and begin. Worry hates timers because they convert possibility into action, turning vague dread into measurable progress. Finishing is less important than proving to the brain that movement, not speculation, generates safety. Late afternoon brings the alliance trap. Invitations to overcommit masquerade as opportunities. One extra project, one harmless favor, one just checking in message that blooms into 40-minute diplomacy. Recall the ruler who bound himself with too many pacts and discovered, too late, that loyalty without margin is bondage. Decline with clarity. Guard the borders of attention as you would the gates of a walled city. Each refusal is a vote for presence. Each unnecessary yes is a seed of future worry. Evening is worry's favorite hunting ground. The room quiets, the day's armor loosens, and the mind screens what could go wrong, director's cut. Counter-program with a ritual that braids reflection and release. Dim the lights, open a notebook, and narrate one uninterrupted page around two hinges. What actually happened today? What story did I attach to it? Facts on the left, fiction on the right. Most nights, the raw facts will be humble, even dull, while the accompanying narrative reads like Gothic literature. Seeing the split drains drama of its fuel. Before the final lamp clicks off, commit a single sentence to memory, short enough to ride the breath, strong enough to arrest the spiral. Mine is Marcus's reminder. Today, I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it. Whisper it once, then let the eyelids meet. If worry returns, greet it as a passerby, not a stage director. The show is over for the night. Weeks cascade into months, and fresh scaffolding rises almost unnoticed. Mornings open with unadorned noticing. Work unfolds along the frame of the courage hour. Afternoons breathe behind guarded boundaries. Nights settle into ink and candle. The external world remains unruly. Traffic snarls, headlines shout, friends stumble. Yet your response grows deliberate, measured, quietly potent. Others sense it in subtler ways. Your voice loses its tremor. Your shoulders lift as though someone removed a hidden weight. Laughter reaches the eyes instead of stopping at polite volume. Something else shifts too. The texture of time itself. When worry no longer stretches every minute into a pre-mortem, hours regain their native shape. Lunch tastes of basil instead of deadlines. The walk home becomes geography rather than a mental whiteboard. Even waiting in line evolves from purgatory into rehearsal for gratitude. 10 extra breaths to notice the spine lengthen, shoulders soften, pulse steady. The clock keeps its old arithmetic, but lived experience doubles in color and halves in friction. Friday dusk calls for an unspoken celebration. One favorite song at unreasonable volume, a doorway shuffle, a toast with sparkling water to honor every catastrophe that failed to materialize. The gesture looks trivial. The nervous system reads it as evidence that vigilance is not the sole route to survival. Joy, too, stands guard at the gate. Saturday morning is the laboratory. Fold the phone closed, slip a slim notebook into a pocket, and wander without itinerary. Let the city's early hush become compass, cobbles slick with dew, shutters yawning upward, bread cooling on a sill. Record small astonishments. A sparrow balanced on a gutter, steam pirouetting from a grate. The exercise teaches attention to drink from a wider cup than anxiety offers. By midday, the notebook holds proof that the world continues to unfold without supervision and thrives for it. Mid-afternoon, test the emergency protocol. Choose a benign stressor, a crowded market, a delayed train, and practice a 4-step reset. Soften posture, lengthen exhale, unclench jaw, label thought as guess, not verdict. The setting is safe, stakes are low. The drill forges muscle memory for nights when the stakes feel high and the body forgets it owns an off switch. Mastery grows in daylight rehearsal long before it saves you at 2 a.m. Reserve one Sunday each month for a deep reset. No alarms, no news, no errands with ticking clocks. Rise when the body rises. Eat when hunger, not schedule, calls. Spend an hour walking without destination, an hour reading without annotation, an hour listening to silence thick enough to touch. By nightfall, the mind feels newly laundered, the week's residue rinsed away. Monday inherits a field already plowed, ready for deliberate seed. Yet, almost anything is not everything. There will be seasons when grief cracks the voice, when the scan returns positive, when the market does collapse. In those hours, the rituals do not guarantee ease, they guarantee capacity. Presence does not cancel pain. It clears a workbench where pain can be shaped into meaning. The breath still shortens, but a trace of space surrounds it. The heart still pounds, yet the pulse no longer writes headlines. You become the blacksmith who tempers the blade rather than the ore that shatters in the forge. Once each quarter, mark a constellation night. Walk beneath the stars, note how some shimmer faintly, others blaze. All endure indifferent to human forecast. Let their aloof persistence remind you that immediate control has always been an illusion, and that serenity is not apathy, but alignment with proportion. In their silent light, the mind's scale recalibrates, shrinking imagined crises to match their true size. One cool morning, you will notice the uncanny. Tasks click into place. Conversations glide where they once snagged. The body hums instead of buzzes. External conditions may look unchanged, but the coordinates have shifted. You no longer orbit worry. It orbits you, a distant satellite broadcasting weaker each day. That is when everything starts to go well, not because the universe bent to your will, but because you stopped bending yourself into shapes designed by fear. You stepped out of tomorrow's shadow and found, waiting in plain daylight, the only space where life ever happens. Here. And from here, almost anything is possible.